the teacher who saw beyond books. The first day of school was always the same: the anxious chatter of students, the shuffle of new books, and the occasional yawn of disinterest. But the day Mr. Elliot Hawthorne first entered the classroom, everything changed. He strode in, eyes twinkling with mischief, and without a word, he wrote a single question on the board. What if? The students stared, puzzled. Was this a trick? A riddle? But Mr. Hawthorne only smiled and said, "Every great discovery, every brilliant idea starts with those two words. This year, we're going to ask what if about everything." From that moment, the classroom transformed into a realm of endless possibilities. Desks were arranged in circles instead of rows. Discussions flowed like rivers. And history was not just told, but reenacted with passion. Math problems became real-world puzzles. Science was an adventure of experiments, and literature came alive through dramatic readings under the open sky. One autumn morning, Mr. Hawthorne took his class outside. Holding up a fallen leaf, he asked, "What do you see?" The students hesitated, expecting a scientific answer, but when one timid voice said, "A story waiting to be told," Mr. Hawthorne beamed. "Exactly. Every leaf, every stone, every whispering wind has a story. Our job is to listen." His lessons weren't confined to books. They were embedded in experiences. He brought guest speakers, local artisans, war veterans, poets, and farmers to teach lessons no textbook could. He encouraged debates, storytelling, and hands-on projects. Failure, he often reminded them, was not the end but the beginning of wisdom. His students flourished. The once quiet Sarah found her voice through poetry. The mischievous Henry learned discipline through constructing model bridges, and the struggling Michael discovered his love for numbers through games and riddles. Each child was a unique flame, and Mr. Hawthorne nurtured their individual sparks into roaring fires. But not everyone appreciated his methods. Some parents and faculty members questioned his approach, believing that education should be strict and structured. One day the principal called him into his office. "Mr. Hawthorne, some believe your methods are too unorthodox. They argue that you are straying from the curriculum." Mr. Hawthorne nodded thoughtfully. "Sir, I understand their concerns, but I don't just teach subjects. I teach minds to think, to wonder, to create. What good is knowledge without the passion to apply it?" The principal sighed. "I cannot argue with the results. Your students are among the most engaged and successful. Continue your work, but tread carefully." Despite the skepticism, Mr. Hawthorne remained steadfast. His belief in his students and their admiration for him never wavered. Years passed, and his students moved on, but they never forgot him. Some became doctors, engineers, writers, and teachers, each carrying a piece of his wisdom. One day, many years later, Sarah, now a published poet, stood before a crowded auditorium and dedicated her book to the man who had taught her that words had power. Henry, an accomplished architect, credited his success to the man who had made learning an adventure. Now a renowned mathematician, Michael often recalled the teacher who had once made numbers into a game.